So today I'm going to first talk about from a global perspective why IPCC's history of dealing the methane issue. The voice is very slow. The online audience said, "Okay, it's too low." Oh,
Yeah, very again.
oh yeah, can you this? Okay.
So how about now? Can you speak?
Yeah. Hello, hello. Can you hear from me better? I guess I'm close enough
Yeah,
to the microphone. Yeah.
Keep going.
So first, I'm going to talk about the global efforts, how UNFCCC and the IPCC should deal with the methane issue, and then talking about China's action and China's NDC, China's 15th five-year plan regarding methane. So why we have the climate change? Why we have the global warming? That's because these greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases not only carbon dioxide. Somebody disagree with me about carbon dioxide. That's right. You're right. Not only carbon dioxide, also methane and others, even including water. But water is too complicated to control. So nobody talks about control water in the atmosphere. IPCC has already identified, by the way, I should maybe I assume people all know IPCC just in case. IPCC means Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This is technical advisory body for UNFCCC. UNFCCC means United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So in the climate circle, normally we use acronyms easier. So IPCC has, as a technical body, has already identified a couple of key greenhouse gases. Number one is carbon dioxide for sure. Number two actually is methane, plus the others. And IPCC has already identified, has given the greenhouse gas list to UNFCCC. UNFCCC as a political decision-making mechanism, normally is called a Conference of Parties, for short, called COP. COP is a decision-making mechanism. Every year, people all gather together to make the political decision. However, until 3 years ago, actually, most of human activities combating greenhouse gases is only focused on carbon dioxide. Just since 3 years ago, gradually people shift, concentrate one side, still concentrate on the carbon dioxide, on the energy transition. Another side is with really awareness and actions to control methane. So, and regarding the carbon dioxide, it is easier, much easier. Regulations, since regulations on carbon dioxide actually started from 1997, COP3. The Kyoto Protocol is the first one legal binding the protocol, require all the members to reduce carbon dioxide, mainly carbon dioxide. Somehow they mention others, but mainly focus on carbon dioxide. And 2015 COP21 Paris Agreement still mostly focus on carbon dioxide. Only since 4 years ago in Glasgow in COP26, finally people saw not enough, only focus on carbon dioxide. We should somehow also focusing on the second largest greenhouse gases, that is methane. So in COP26 Glasgow, so a global methane pledge was proposed and signed by several members of the UNFCCC. Later in the COP28 in Dubai, there was the summit on global methane and the ministerial meeting of global methane pledge. This year in Baku, still the global methane pledge ministerial meeting was held. There are some results. Next year would be in Belém, Brazil. We don't know yet the agenda about the methane, but I guess next year still should, the COP meeting still would focus on both carbon dioxide and methane, especially somehow first every country to include methane into their newly updated nationally determined contributions, NDC. So this is a new, I think, efforts in the past COP meetings. First, every country should put methane into their new NDCs. Before the Glasgow meeting, COP21, the COP26, the United Nations Environment Program and the Climate and Clean Air Coalition jointly published a report to provide as a technical support to the COP negotiators. In the report, it specifically mentioned the methane is a relatively short atmosphere lifetime and is stronger. It's a strong global warming potential. So within the 20 years, is the global warming potential would be 86 times stronger than carbon dioxide. Within a 100 years period, it would be 28 times. That means currently, if 1 ton of methane is being emit, that would be equivalent to the 26 times of carbon dioxide, or 28 times, depends on the time span you are going to use. So in the real world, there are some natural methane emission and human activity emissions. However, 60% of the current atmosphere methane is from human activities. So that's people are really need to work very hard to reduce methane emissions. In the report, still in the report, the major emission sources are from agricultural, from fossil energy, from organic waste. These are the 3 categories, and plus some others. But these are three major human activity methane emission sources. Agriculture is 40%, including livestock, rearing, animal manures, and paddy rice production. So that's really huge. This is number 1, 40%. So you may or may not have noticed, actually, China so far has not signed the global methane pledge in COP28. Not only China, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, those countries all not signed. The reason is because the paddy rice issue. Those are rice production countries. They really don't want to join in the global methane pledge. That would affect their rice production issue. This is a food security issue. So those countries somehow take actions, but they don't want to join in the global methane pledge. Not only China, not only India, these paddy rice countries. Australia is another one. Australia also rejected to sign global methane pledge because Australia has a huge livestock industry. So it's not joking. The cattle fart, cattle, the bullshit actually is real, is not a bullshit. It's really, really the greenhouse gases sources. So that's why Australia rejected to sign the global methane pledge. And fossil energy, mostly the natural gas and oil production, those are some natural gas methane leakage happens. And coal-bed methane is also is another issue. Organic waste is actually more very close to our human consumption activities. 20% are from food, from organic materials, landfills, open dumpings, wastewaters. Those are actually, surround us. This is it takes about 20%. This data actually has been a little bit updated. Before in Wikipedia, and the right side actually is the Wikipedia data is a little bit less. And here in the UNEP CCEC report, they emphasized agricultural, fossil fuels, and organic waste. This is a history and a projection. If we don't take action, that would be, the curve would be the black one, the continue increasing. If we fixed, that's a blue line, just to fix the current level. If we take actions, could be the green line. So depends on us, depends on the human being, the actions. As I mentioned, in the COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland, the Global Methane Pledge was being initiated by CCAC, by EU and the US. This is a voluntary-based plurilateral agreement, not a multilateral. Multilateral means all the members of UNFCCC would sign. Now, this is open to the members. You're willing to sign, that's okay. If you don't, so they don't have, they cannot force you to sign. That's why it's a plurilateral agreement. So far, only 158 members have signed this document, and which representing about half of the global methane emission. The reason only half, countries actually is more than half. Totally in the world, about 200 members, 200 countries in the world, but only still less than 50 members of countries in the world have not signed. But another half, actually, another less than 50 countries actually is representing another half of the global methane emissions. The reason is China, India, Russia, Australia, these major emitters. COP27, the John Kerry, this US Special Climate Envoy, still promoting the concept Global Methane Pledge, GMP. And that's his baby, actually. Before he stepped down, he has made a lot of efforts to promote a Global Methane Pledge. COP28, this oil man, the Dr. Sultan, the oil minister of UAE, is also promoting the Global Methane Pledge because UAE is also oil and gas country. They have a lot of collaborations with many European, US, and Chinese oil companies like BP and Shell and China, CNOOC and Panachek, a lot of these countries. So he actually, as a chairman of COP28 president, he strongly promoted the greenhouse gas emission, including the methane emission reduction. During the last year, during the COP28, there was organized GMP, Global Methane Pledge, ministerial meeting, and also the summit. They already have the ministerial meeting because the only reason is because China is not including the ministerial meeting. China was not a member. China has not signed the GMP. That's why they created another mechanism, create the mechanism called summit. Summit for Methane and Non-Carbon Dioxide Greenhouse Gases. The summit, those are the summit members: China, US, UAE as the chairman, and World Bank president, UNEP executive directors, African Development Bank president. Those are the summit. It also shows you how important of China in the global issue. John Kerry created, together with Dr. Thornton, created a mechanism, wanted to China to be engaged in the methane issue. So they created the mechanism called Summit. And more important, for the COP28, they create a specific technical mechanism called Lowering Organic Waste Methane Initiative. Lowering Organic Waste for short, called LOW. So Low Methane Initiative. So focus on the mostly related to our human beings' consumption. So those are the key, during the COP28, the key reports are released. Global methane assessment, oil and gas country methane abatement tools, and those are specific detailed reports, technical report to release to the public, mostly trying to educate negotiators to accept the methane emission reduction. There are also some results during the COP28. World Bank launches their global flaring and methane reduction partnership. World Bank each year has funded many projects. The projects actually are oil and gas related. So they wanted to somehow doing something like early Mr. Yip mentioned, trying to somehow accelerate from party A to party B, play a role as a bankable, investmentable projects. So World Bank announced they're going to mostly focus on the flaring issue. As you know, during the oil and natural gas exploration, easily resulting in the flaring issue. So the flaring, the World Bank is going to put some funding to control the flaring, to convert as a resource, to convert the release the methane into the resources. International methane, what does E means? International methane, forgot the E. Emission, yeah, that's right. Methane emission observation, IMEO, yeah. They have issued the methane alert and the response system called Mars. Although we're on the Earth, it's not on the Mars, but the name is called Mars. Mars tracked over 100,000 methane plants during the pilot phase to monitor the methane released to the atmosphere. And there are also the emission inventory work and for MRV. This is also very important for the exporters and importers, especially for the oil and the natural gas companies. Create a new mechanism called Global Methane Hub Partnership, increasing the fossil energy accountability for those. The GMH is also an information exchange mechanism to encourage the members set up the partnership to share the methane emission reduction. Yeah, EPA, US EPA actually decades ago created the Global Methane Initiative, also targeting on the methane emission reduction. They work together with some oil companies to take some actions. Those are all the last year, the COP28 methane outcomes. This year in Baku, so this is all the leaders attending the COP 29 in Baku. Also, made some progress. First, they create increase some new members. Those 4 countries assigned the Global Methane Pledge. Azerbaijan, as a host country of COP29, and also as an oil country, they must sign it. Otherwise, they're not able to continue their chairship of the COP29. Tajikistan, no oil, no gas. I guess they wanted to join in the global society. Guatemala and Madagascar, those are the tiny countries, but they want to join anyway. And more important, some new fundings from the government, from philanthropists, also put some more money into the methane reduction. Nearly $500 million US in the new grant funding. Totally right now for the Global Methane Pledge, there are over $2 billion US to promote the global methane emission reduction. And during the COP29, there was also the declaration on reducing methane from organic waste. Besides the last year's low methane initiative, 52 countries collectively responsible for roughly about 50% of global methane from organic waste emission. They set up the commitment as a sector to reduce the methane emissions in the future. So those are the efforts being made by Conference of Parties under the UNFCCC mechanism. Let's talk about China. What China is doing. Last year, actually, right before the COP28, and China, right before the meeting, during the Sunny Land Declaration, early in the morning, Dale Evans mentioned that, and China released its action plan for methane emission reduction last November, early November. I remember 6th of November, mostly focused on the fossil energy, oil, natural gas, and coal-bed methane. This is the key point. And with a very important methodology called co-control of methane and other pollutants. This is, I think, the milestone for China to take actions to reduce methane. Although China is not a member of Global Methane Pledge, but China, is willing to reduce methane. China this year in COP29, Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang specifically mentioned for the newly updated the NDC, China is going to cover all of the greenhouse gases, right? Beside the carbon dioxide. That means including methane. That's a really key message. So China is updating its NDC right now. Methane is a must into the NDC. Methane still, the researchers and decision makers are still discussing whether or not methane to be added into the China's 15th five-year plan. Currently, the research institutes are making the plan. My guess is probably yes. Otherwise, how can they match with the NDC? And in that case, actually, in the future, for Chinese companies, they are facing both the carbon dioxide and methane emission reduction pressure. They have to take some actions to reduce methane, not only carbon dioxide. On the action plan, those are the key components in the action plan. So their first is MRV on the methane issue. China right now actually has already launched a couple of satellites to monitor the methane emissions. Not only one, a couple of satellites to verify, to monitor and verify the methane emissions. And the drones are being widely used to monitor the methane emissions. For example, if here in Hong Kong, the drones and the satellite can easily to find where are the methane sources, like sewage plants, definitely is one. The garbage collection points, even they can identify this is a place gradually release the methane. Even the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the cafeteria, because they put some the kitchen waste into that one. If it take too long, that gradually release the methane. The satellite and the drones are easily to identify that. The reason the satellite easily to identify because methane in the atmosphere, the concentration is much lower than carbon dioxide. It's actually is a ppb level. The carbon dioxide is a ppm level. So that's why they are easily, when satellite scan it, easily to find it. Give you an example. I visited my former colleagues in Satellite Center of MEE. They told me the story. Once they got they read the satellite picture, they found in Shanxi province one place called Yangquan. They found automatically the concentration, the color is black, means suddenly a lot of methane emission from that place. They don't know what happens. They made a phone call to Shanxi Department of Ecology and Environment, asked them to double check what happened. The result, it quickly the feedback, because in the early morning in Yangquan, the place, there is a very, very tiny earthquake. People even don't have the feeling it's an earthquake, but the satellite could identify that. And of course, earthquake observation station, they are also found. So that's a reason. So methane, again, methane is much easier to be monitored from the satellite and the drones than carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide normally is indirectly calculated by the energy consumption because of fossil energy. But methane is easy to be directly monitored. That's a very different. That's why for the action plans, the number one is MRV issue. Number two is energy sector methane emission control, meaning oil, gas, and coal methane. Number three is agricultural. China is trying to take some actions, even including paddy rice, but mostly non-paddy rice efforts on the animals, on the how to utilize this agricultural waste, convert it into the resources. Number four is sewage issue. This is a garbage sorting issue. Those are strongly in the future linked to the methane emissions. Number five is co-control of pollutants and methane. Number six is technology innovation for the methane emission reduction. Number seven is legal and policy strategy system building. Number eight is global methane governance and cooperation. So those are the key components in China's action plan for methane emission reduction. So these are the, I specifically pick up this one is the China's major efforts currently to reduce methane from the oil and gas sector. So they wanted to utilize the methane from the oil to have the leakage testament. This is very important. During the lunch, I asked Professor Xu about the Hong Kong's, the boilers right now, the cooking stoves right now is in a mix of natural gas and heavy oil and others. So in mainland China, one of the major issue actually is the pipeline leakages. think about the pipeline from from Siberia to China, from Xinjiang to coast area. So leakage happens, no matter how secure you could do, but still some leakage could happen. This percentage matters a lot. So later I tell you some details. You know, in the US, they also found that this is a major big issue. So in the future, the leakage rate for oil and the gas sector matters a lot. Flaring issue I mentioned during the World Bank. So this is the somehow historical data to show you if also some scenarios, historic calculation scenarios, if the leakage rate is 2.7%, would be this line. So this look at the emissions. If the leakage rate is much lower, is 1.5%, could be this one. So you see the gap between the methane emissions. So don't forget, methane is a very strong has a very strong global warming potential, much stronger than carbon dioxide. The gap matters a lot. So that's why in the future, I guess, you know, in this sector, the detect the leakage is very, very critical. China has the action plan has specifically mentioned the methodology called co-control of pollutants and methane issue. This is very important. China has such a kind of good experiences. This is some context. So in the action plan, I want to mention that is because this is also that's also my research work. Decades ago, I worked very hard on the co-control of air pollutants and the greenhouse gases. After long-term research, finally is being adopted in Article 2 of China's China's air pollution control and prevention law. So in the law, it clearly states China should control both together greenhouse gases and air pollutants. So this is China's experiences to be shared with India, with Indonesia, with Kazakhstan, with these countries. So one side, internationally, those countries, including China, are feeling the pressure to reduce greenhouse gases. But another side, they are suffering a lot about air pollutants. You know, this year, I found in Baku and Alma-Ata. So I really found the biggest thing bother me is air pollution in the street. China has already, the taste sounds familiar, but that's about a decade ago. China has already phased out. So China's principle is clear. Why don't we use one stone to kill two birds? Reduce greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, and reduce sulfur dioxide, PM2.5. So now the similar situation. We are facing reduced methane issue. Why don't we, at the same time, to deal with the garbage sorting issue, to deal with sewage treatment issue, in the rural countryside, also can combine together with beautiful countryside construction program, together with kitchen waste issue to improve the rural environment issue. So for this one, I specifically wrote a policy proposal to MEE to emphasize. This is very important. I just give some to review the history of co-control of air pollutants and carbon dioxide. Now is the time to co-control methane and other pollutants. For the air pollution and the greenhouse gases issue, actually we've done a lot of work. If you're interested, actually, you can visit the website of Asia Development Bank. So there are specific guidelines of co-control methodology. How can we deal with the co-control methodologies? So conclusion. So no matter the global efforts to reduce methane under the UNFCCC and the COP mechanism, and also the China's action plan, the message is clear. We really, it's the time for us to take actions to reduce methane emissions. So it is a new challenge, but it's also new opportunities. So depends on whom. For some countries, it's challenges. For some countries, opportunities. I've been to the COP meetings a couple of times since or many decades ago as well. So the small islands countries, they always say the climate is a challenge for them. They're going to living in the future under the water. That's why they're every COP meeting, they ask for funding, for money. Early Mr. Ye also mentioned this year, the so-called triple finance sources, 300 billion yuan, but they request 1.3 trillion yuan. So it's still a big gap. But those countries look at the climate issue as the challenges. But for me, I found that why China is different. China look at it as an opportunity rather than the challenges. It is a challenge. Can we convert the challenges into the opportunities by taking this opportunity to develop new productivity? President Xi Jinping mentioned the 新质生产力. This is a really opportunity to promote. Look at the carbon dioxide pressure issue at that time. China facing the reducing the carbon dioxide. So that's why China development the renewable energy, development the energy storage by the batteries, development the EVs. This is the China. This is my also understanding. It's different with the EU, different with US. President Trump is sort of is a hoax of China. Of climate is a hoax of China. He is a supporter of faith. Sort of the climate issue is a challenge, but China said this is opportunity, not only the challenge. We can convert challenges into the opportunity. We take actions. We can develop renewable energy. We can develop energy storage. We can develop the EVs. That's why it's so different. Method is different first. There are some other differences of sure. So institutional leadership, all different. But anyway, method is the first. We think this is opportunity. That's also, I would say, also this is our second form of the new opportunities. We treat climate as an opportunity. Methane is a new opportunity for us to take actions in the oil and the gas industry, combat methane issue, sewage, organic solid waste, paddy rice, and the livestock industry. If we think this is opportunity, we must find some, not only the policy opportunities, also business opportunities. So this is something I want to share with you. Thank you very much. Yeah.